Are you a busybody? Are you a busybody? And um, refers the Bible refers to people as busybodies, um, who are gossipy, who are talking a lot. So we're going to review some scriptures here and discuss those things that we may be doing that maybe we don't see as being a busybody, as being a gossip, but maybe, just maybe, we have it all messed up. So the question for us today is, are you a busybody? Am I a busybody? I think we may all have busybody moments where we kind of get caught up in the conversation. We get caught up in what's being said, maybe some gossip, maybe some, oh, I heard this. And so we have to be careful as Christians that we don't get caught up in those things. So we're going to start with Proverbs chapter 20, verse 19. And that reads, he who goes about as a gossip reveals secrets. Therefore, do not associate with a gossip who talks freely and flatters. So, talking about someone who is a gossip um, and reveals secrets. We all desire to have somebody who we can um, talk to. Maybe we have something going on in our life that maybe we don't want anyone um, to know. Maybe just a close friend uh, that we talk to about those types of things. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful who you share with. Be careful who you let those things be known. People should be able to go, particularly within the Christian community, we should be able to go and to speak to a friend, be able to go and speak to a fellow Christian sister or brother about what is going on with us. Um, this is why people get in situations and they know they want to get out of, they're stuck. Maybe you're doing something you just know is wrong. Um, but you need help to talk about it, to talk through it. And people can't do it because they know, well, if I talk to that person, they're going to tell this person. If they talk to this person, they're going to bring it to somebody else. And you reveal people's secrets. And when you reveal people's secrets, you make it impossible for them to have someone to speak to confidentially, someone that perhaps they could pray with, someone that perhaps they could talk through the situation and say, no, I think maybe you should look at it like this, or no, let's try something else. And so we ruin the ability for guidance within the Christian community because we cannot stop talking. We cannot not be a busybody. We cannot close our mouths. And so in Proverbs chapter 20, it says that people who are gossips, they reveal secrets. And you never know what the price is for a revealed secret. A person may have come to you. Maybe they told you something. Then the something they told you, you told somebody, and they told somebody, and they told somebody. And you never know what that may end up looking like. That person maybe could lose their job. That person maybe you have ruined a marriage that could have been repaired. Maybe you've ruined a friendship that could have been worked through. And so we have to be about our Father's business. And when Jesus said that at 12 years old, um, that meant everything. Everything that looks like our Father's business, which means looking like somebody that I can come talk to, and when I get done talking to you, the next thing you do will not be picking up the phone to repeat what it is that I told you, because people can be frustrated about something. Um, if I have a frustration with another person, for example, if I'm frustrated and I go to somebody else and say, she really frustrated me, and I don't know how to handle it. What do you think? And then I don't hate the person. They just had something that they did that frustrated me. But by the time it gets to back to that other person, I can't stand them. I hate them. Or you can't stand them. You hate them, or whatever. And really, what it was I just came to somebody to talk through a problem that I had that I was frustrated about, and as a result, now because we have a difficult time shutting down and not talking about what someone has told us, we have now caused a much bigger problem. The Bible talks about the tongue and what we say, that there is life and death in the tongue, that we can speak life into somebody and we can speak good things into someone. We can speak even when they need correction. It tells us to do our correction in love. It does not tell us to rip somebody's whole poor little heart out when we correct them, but to tell them in love that they're wrong in what they're doing. And so the Bible talks about the tongue, and it compares it to the rudder on a ship. It says it's the smallest thing, but it causes the most problems. The rudder on the ship is what is used to turn it, to turn the whole ship around. Is small as compared to the ship, but it can cause so much damage. And this is what we do when we don't control ourselves and what we say and how we say it. And it's so freely done because we don't think we're really hurting anybody. Well, all I did was, it's not a big deal. No, it's a big deal. When the Bible takes a whole time out to talk about gossip and the tongue and what we say and how we say it, it's a big deal. Control is what God is looking for us to have. So this is Proverbs 19, 20, I'm sorry, Proverbs chapter 20, verse 19 is what it tells us. Proverbs 26 and 17 tells us, it says, like one who grabs a stray dog by the ears is someone who rushes into a quarrel that's not their own. What does that mean? Grab a stray dog. It's like grabbing a stray dog. A stray dog is a dog you don't know. If you know anything about dog, you approach a dog you don't know, and that dog may or may not bite you because it doesn't know you, and you are not part of their psyche. I don't know this person. And then grab them. Not only do I not know you, you grab my ears. And so I'm about to, do what I do. I'm a dog. And so if you grab a dog by the ears, now the dog is sitting face to face with you. You got him by the ears. He doesn't know you. And that's what is that? That's dangerous. It's dangerous to get in other people's quarrels, but this is what we do. We don't know the facts. We don't know. We just jump in, taking sides. You don't know what happened. You don't know what was said. You don't know the history. Sometimes they done forgot what they mad about. Sometimes they don't even remember the history and what they're arguing about. But here we come, riding in, running up on it, talking about what happened. Here it is, and I know, and I don't like her. I don't like her anyway. And stay out of other folks' arguments is what the Bible is telling us. Now, this ain't what I said. This is what the Word said. Chapter 26 of Proverbs. It says, it is dangerous. Is as dangerous as grabbing the ears of a stray dog. It's dangerous for someone to run up, someone who rushes into a quarrel that's not their own. A quarrel, an argument, rushes into it, running up on it. You've seen it yourself. And old people had some sayings to help you remember not to do just exactly that. And remember, I know y'all know it's an A and B conversation. COA. This is between them. Stay out of that. In chapter 20 and 19, it tells us don't associate with gossiping people who reveal other people's secrets. Don't even associate with them. That means, hi and bye. We ain't hanging out. Chapter 26 tells us that it's dangerous for us. It's giving us a warning. It's even dangerous for you to be going and getting involved in someone else's angry conversation and quarrel. Uh, People used to say, my name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. My name is Paul. That's between y'all. My name is Mary. I'm gonna ask something, and I'm a little scary. I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be in no mess. I don't want to be in no argument that I have nothing to do with. That I know nothing about. I don't know how it started, but here I am taking sides. That is for those two people who are in that argument to figure it out and to bring peace with between the two of them. And if they're not looking to make peace, then your jumping in to the conversation is not going to help if they're not looking to make peace. Now they may say, hey, you know what, we can't work this out between ourselves, so we need some assistance and somebody to help us and counsel us through this argument, this conversation. That's different. That's someone that they've invited into the conversation, someone that they seek. Maybe it's professional help, maybe it's a trusted family member, maybe it's an aunt, uncle that there's some people who want to see mess. They like to see stuff escalate, and there's some people who really want to see the situation resolved. You don't go to people who like mess to resolve mess. You go to somebody who cares about the situation, cares about you, and who you're quarreling with. And then y'all sit down, and maybe when you invite someone in to the conversation, that's different than us taking sides, fueling the fire, repeating, talking back and forth on the phone, what they talking about stuff. That's not how we do. Do better as church folks. Now, what the world does is what the world does, and we can say, well, but they did, and they said God didn't ask us. Well, if the world act right, or if someone else don't act right, then you don't have to act right either. Whether other people act right or not, you have an obligation to act right, to do God's will. I want to take you to First Thessalonians, and the question is, I'm just asking, are you a busybody? Are you repeating people's secrets? Are you rushing them up into fights and arguments between other people? That makes you a busybody. I think all of us may have been a busybody at some time, and then we mature and we do different. We do better. So I'm not pointing no fingers. Please don't feel like I'm talking about you. All of us, includes me, have been a busybody perhaps at some point in time. Maybe you didn't even know. Maybe you didn't even realize, like, you know what, I sat there, I talked about this whole situation. I didn't mean to talk about all that. And sometimes we knew, sometimes we know. But be aware, be careful. First Thessalonians. It says into First Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11. It says, make it your ambition. Your ambition. Ambition means I'm driven to do something that I'm driven to do. People talk about people being ambitious on the job. They were driven to climb the ladder at work and become a supervisor or a corporate manager or whatever it is that they were driven to do it. So the Bible's telling us be driven, be ambitious about this. Make it your ambition to live quietly and peacefully, and to mind your own affairs, and to work with your hands just as we directed. So this is Paul in his letter to the Thessalonian church. And he's telling them, make it your business, make it your ambition to live quietly. Some of us like being loud. There's something to be said about being fun and loud and laughter. That's different. I'm talking about you always in something. You always a busybody. You always got something to say. You always repeating something. You always mad. You always think you know what's going on in other people's lives when you do not absolutely know. And so make it your ambition to not do that, to not gossip, to not talk. What's chapter 20, Proverbs chapter 20 tells us that gossips are a revealer of secrets. Is that you? Are you a busybody? Chapter 26 tells us to stay away from folks who gossip. And it tells us if you grab the ears of a dog, that's how dangerous it is to be getting in other people's arguments that you weren't invited into. And now here in First Thessalonians is telling us to make it your ambition to live quietly and peacefully, and to mind your own affairs. In modern day language, that would be the equivalent of somebody saying, mind your own business. Worry about what you got going on. Because don't we all have enough in our own lives? Don't we all have enough to get done? We got jobs, we got houses to keep straight, family to care for, children or grandchildren. We volunteer perhaps at our school. We are volunteering within our church home. We are maybe the go-to person in our family when everybody needs some help or they need to talk about something. They come to us. Be a trustworthy person. If you're that person in your family that everybody wants to come talk to when they're having trouble, when they're going through something, be that person with integrity, because families need good leaders. Families need good advisors. Families need all of those things. Uncles, great uncles and aunts. I have my great aunt um, lived very close by to me, my grandparents as well. And it was um, a blessing for me as I went through life to be able to go to them and talk to them and not worry about them seeing it as something to spread, some gossip to spread. I was able to talk through things. I was able to cry on a shoulder and not walk away thinking, will I hear about that later? Will it be exaggerated if it gets repeated? All of the things that we think about when we really need to talk to somebody. So in Thessalonians, Paul says to them, make it your ambition and your purpose to live quietly and peacefully and to mind your own business. Now, I promise you, I am not talking to anybody in particular. Thank you, Sister Sharon, but I'm 55 years old. I have lived long enough to see all of these things. Um, it's a challenge for all of us, not just, I'm not talking and I'm not pointing fingers. This is a challenge for all of us to make sure that what we do and what we advise and when we listen, we got young marriages, young people who are fighting to stay a family. We have to be part of the good side of that. Um, for example, Sister Sharon, I know how strong you are in terms of being an advisor within your own family. Um, Others on here, I know you're advisors to your own family. Do it with integrity. Hold that information. Come back and check on them. They are talking to you because they need you. Um, so First Thessalonians says, mind your own business, and it says, find your own. Do something. Says, and mind your own affairs, and to work with your hands. In other words, get a job. Go find something to do. Uh, Volunteer if do something. Just because you're old enough to have retired or whatever it is does not mean you don't have so much to offer this world, so much to offer a church body. In church bodies, it's the people in their 50s and up, maybe 40s, but young folks who are in their 20s and 30s, they're finishing up college, they might be moving back and forth. It's hard for them to be a really stable part or a leader in within the church, because you kind of got to stay put to be a leader. And they're moving around, they're having children, their children have activities. Now they may be bringing those kids to church on Sunday morning, but the work of the church must often be done by those who have adult children, on those who are retired, because we don't have, I'm not there yet. I'm not retired yet. But those who are might be able to do a little more because they're home. And they don't have that 8 hour or 10 hour a day obligation. Now, I'm not saying anything about anybody, or please hear me. I'm just pointing out that the church body needs its elders, it needs its people to advise those who are young, to be there for the needs of the church. Um, you are needed, and you are needed in a very mature way. You are needed so that someone can come and talk. Young people can come and say, here's what we're experiencing, here's the trouble we're having. Be uh, that gray haired, I got some gray hair, it's in there. Um, uh, Wise advisor. Um, As they say, we give it auntie vibes. You need these auntie vibes. I'm here for it. I'm here to advise. I'm here to see you succeed. I'm here to push you forward. I'm here to listen to your story and then keep it to myself and then advise you and check on you. We need this. Are you a busybody or are you an advisor? Are you a busybody or are you one who's looking to see people succeed, and you're by their side holding their hand, and they can come and talk to you. um, First Peter, where we at? Okay, we're gonna wind it down. First Peter chapter 4 and 15, it says, but let none of you suffer as a murderer, thief, evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. Stop being in other folks' matters. The Bible is telling us over and over again, mind your business. Stay out of people's business. And when you are in somebody's business, be a person of integrity so that that person can really open up. So many lives could be changed if people felt like they could talk, if people felt like they could say what needs to be said. And so, again, are you a busybody? We're going to move on down to First Timothy, and it says this is referring to people. This is advice to Timothy. Besides, they that get into the habit of being idle and going about from house to house, not only do they become idlers, but also busybodies who talk nonsense, saying things that ought not to be said. And so, again, being a busybody. Are you a busybody? Do you realize you're a busybody? You might not even realize it. After you hear this, you might say, oh, maybe I've been a busybody in a couple of areas. And so, are you a busybody? Are people able to talk to you and they can walk away knowing that that will stay with you? Um, it says they go from house to house. Well, now we may not go from house to house. Maybe we just go from phone call to phone call, right? Phone call to phone call, saying, talking, repeating. Um, I once heard somebody say, y'all not on the telephone, y'all on the telephone, just raising hell everywhere you go. You on the phone talking about some mess that you ain't got no business talking about, something somebody told you that they told in confidence, something somebody called you and asked advice for. And instead of you being a person that had the integrity to hold that and keep that, you got on the telephone. And then, you calling and calling and calling and calling. What is your motivation? Why are you on the phone? Before you pick up the phone and make the call, ask yourself, why am I making this phone call? Am I making this phone call to be nosy? Am I making this phone call as a busybody? Am I making this phone call because I really want to reach out and I'm really a trustworthy person? Know yourself. The Bible tells us, physician, heal thyself. Know yourself. Know if you are, I'm a person, if you're a person that you just can't hold conversations, you be like, oh, yeah, I just can't hold sometimes. I just repeat it before I even know it. Then tell somebody, look, I probably ain't the person you want to talk to. Be honest. And then grow in that area. Grow in that area. Um, Being in other people's business, when you look at the men who bought the woman who they had caught in an adulterous act, and they bring her and throw her before the feet of Jesus. Jesus does not address her. Jesus does not address her in front of those people. What Jesus does now, this is her business. Oh, you understand? This is somebody's dirty business. You got caught in an adulterous relationship, and then not only did you get caught, you got dragged out by these men who caught you and threw you at the feet of Jesus. Now, I'm assuming that wherever Jesus was, there was always people. So not only was it Jesus, but there was other people around. And to disperse the crowd, Jesus asked one question. He said to them, whoever is without sin, cast the first stone. So it's sort of a question. It's also a statement because he already knew none of y'all standing here without sin. Cast the first stone. Go ahead. And the Bible says that everyone left and they had to drop their stones because no one had clean hands standing there but Jesus. So the only one worthy to cast a stone at her was Jesus. And he did not cast a stone. Rather, he said to her, go and sin no more. First, he asked her this other question. He says, where are your accusers? And then he says to her, go and sin no more. And so we have an obligation to be responsible. We have an obligation to be that person that can be relied on. This reminds me of a rap that used to be out and used to go, people used to say that you had a big mouth. Now I understand what they're talking about. Because what we do is just between me and you. not something you go and tell your crew. There's more to it, but that's what I can remember. You know, don't be a big mouth. You just ruin it for those who are really seeking help. So I hope that you learned a little bit today about being a busybody. And if you are, and we have all probably been a busybody at one point or another. So I'm not saying, just like Jesus, I'm not saying you are not worthy of 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 forgiveness and a change. He tells her, go out there and change. Go and sin no more. Um, so think about it. Go out there, and if you are a busybody, don't be. It's just that simple. Don't be. This is a Wednesday word for Progressive Baptist Church. I'm Minister Nicole Lanier, where our pastor in Progressive Baptist is Walter John Lanier. We are 8324 West Keith Avenue. God bless you. I hope this takes you through the week. And maybe you sit next to a busybody at work. Maybe you sit next to one at church. Maybe you have a family member. So y'all work on being less busy. Put something together. Do something with your hands. Be supportive of people. Much love.